This mindfulness meditation was first delivered at the Mindfulness Now Teacher Training Support Group on the 20th of July 2020. And the theme for this one is bounce back ability. So just starting with your eyes open. Just tuning in to how you feel right now. Can you be aware of the room around you, sitting or lying with your eyes open? Just having a gentle focus in front of you and being aware of the things all around you. And in a moment or two, I'm going to ask you to just gently close your eyes or lower your gaze towards the floor. And you can prepare yourself for how that's going to feel. You can imagine how your eyes will feel and how your body will feel when you close your eyes. So just allow your eyes to gently close and feel how it feels to make that transition. Tuning into a stillness. Perhaps still being aware of the light behind your eyelids. Or perhaps you're aware of colours behind your eyelids. Or just darkness, just being aware. Gently bringing that focus to each breath that you take. Riding the waves of each breath, each in-breath, each out-breath. And again, just noticing how your breathing feels. As we always say, not trying to change it in any way, but just noticing it. Tuning into it. Can you be aware of how you're taking in information through your senses? The sounds that you can hear. Maybe smells that you can be aware of. Any tastes? Can you be aware of feelings on the outside of your body? The feelings of the touch of your clothes against your skin, maybe. The contact of your body with the chair or the floor. The feel of your feet with the floor. Just noticing, again, just noticing. Bounce back ability, or resilience if you like. When I was very little, I was fascinated by those funny little egg-shaped toys. Do you remember them? Weebles. Weebles wobble but they don't fall down. They had that great ability to right themselves over and over and over again, no matter how many times you tried to push them over. I loved them. They were my favourite at one point. My Jack-in-the-Box too had all that stored up energy inside, just waiting to be released at the touch of a button. The ability to become alive again, having been shut down in a box, sometimes for days on end. And he always had a smile on his face when he saw the light of day once again and sprang back to life. And I guess these two toys are nice little metaphors for what resilience is all about. Taking the knocks in life being pushed down over and over again, and having the wherewithal to withstand it all and bounce back. Perhaps you can think of resilience, bounce back ability, being linked with attitudes of mindfulness. Firstly, perhaps the attitude of acceptance. Everything continually changes in life, we know that. Sometimes we enjoy those changes, and sometimes we don't. We have to accept them regardless. Which then perhaps links with the attitude of letting go of the need for things to be different to how they actually are right now. Which then perhaps leads on to the attitude of trust, trusting that things will turn out as they will, and that things will be okay. It's interesting to think how many of the attitudes have a link or an overlap, isn't it? So again, just bringing your body back into mind, back into your awareness. Feeling how your body feels on the outside. Perhaps streaming your attention to how your body feels on the inside. Noticing your breathing on the inside of your body. How does your breathing make your body look on the outside? Being aware of your chest rising and falling, your abdomen rising and falling. Again, just bringing a gentle focus to your senses. The light that you might be aware of behind your eyelids. Sounds, smells, tastes. And notice what your thinking is doing right now in response to everything that I've said so far. Probably your mind has wandered, and that's okay. But it's good to remind yourself that that's okay. There's no right or wrong way of doing any of this. If your mind wanders, that's fine. Just bring it back to a focus of what I'm saying and what I'm guiding you to do. Bounce back ability. I have a friend who has also done our mindfulness training, and I know she won't mind me outlining things that have happened in her life over the last few years since I met her for the first time. So when I did first meet her, I remember Nick introducing her as an Ironman triathlete. She'd taken part in all sorts of challenges, races, time trials, and had done really well, winning a number of medals along the way. But unfortunately, by the time I knew her, she'd been struck down with chronic ill health and was, at that point in her life, unable to continue with her training, finding it difficult to summon up enough strength to even walk, let alone run, swim and cycle. Since then, not only has she qualified as a hypnotherapist and mindfulness teacher, she's also set up in business as a tutor for teenagers and has never given up on her heart's desire of returning to top-class sport. And little by little, with changes made in her lifestyle, she's now once again at the top of her sport for her age group, and I'm sure as fit as anyone half her age. More recently, the same friend was all set to up sticks, lock, stock and barrel, and move her whole life across the world to Cambodia. She had a brand new job which she was really looking forward to in an international school. This meant meeting many challenges head on. She had to face the trauma of rehoming her 2 horses and her pony, and clearing out many of her personal possessions. Her very identity had been built around where she lived, her horses, and her running, and she'd prepared herself for all this to change. She'd prepared herself to let go, materialistically and emotionally. But then there was that little interruption called a global pandemic, which, as you can imagine, shattered her dreams completely once again, in front of her very eyes. This time she was forced to let go very quickly. But now, just 4 months on, she's yet another new job, not far from where she lives this time, with people who she knows and gets on well with, and she's looking again to the future. She is, I think, a perfect example of resilience, having that bounce back ability. So again, just perhaps reflecting on the words that you've heard so far, noticing what you're thinking. Very briefly bringing that awareness to your breathing. How your breathing feels within your body. How your body feels on the inside. How your body feels on the outside. And noticing those sounds, those smells, those tastes. And the light behind your eyelids. Bounce back ability, I think, is summed up really well in that well-known quote from Jon Kabat-Zinn. You can't control the waves, but you can learn how to surf. We all experience the waves, and each wave has the power to knock us off our feet completely. But having your surfboard of mindful awareness can help you to ride them out. So I'm also reminded of a script written by students at Mindfulness Now a few years ago. They described the most wonderful and interesting journey, which involved scrambling along high-up mountain pathways, climbing down steep crevices, canoeing along raging rapids, and generally encountering all sorts of obstacles along the way. And at each stage the listener was to imagine themselves having all the resources that they needed in order to overcome the various pitfalls. The outer resources might have included things like a rope, enough time, a watertight canoe, a map, a compass, even perhaps a first aid kit. And the inner resources might have included things like confidence, intuition, trust, self-esteem, courage, intelligence. As they imagined themselves embarking on this exciting journey, they may have taken a few knocks along the way, both physically and emotionally, as they imagined a lack of certain resources. But they'd find a way round. They would overcome. They would bounce back from any setbacks, just like a weeble, just like a jack in the box, just like my friend, just like all of us. It's perhaps a useful thing to remember how important our relationships are in all of this. The relationship we have with ourselves and the relationships we have with others. In fact, relationships are a key factor in resilience. Having a conversation with someone who cares about you helps you to stay strong. When you yourself forget your good points, your strengths, your success stories, then they can be there to remind you of them. Getting on with people helps mutual trust and support. Having a mindful awareness can help build positive relationships in various ways. If you're embodying mindfulness, then you're less likely to speak out of anger, less likely to say the wrong thing in the wrong way, less likely to upset people. And conversely, when there are difficult things that have to be said, mindfulness can give you the wherewithal and the confidence to say them in the most productive and supportive of ways, again without upsetting people. So again, just bringing your awareness to your thoughts right now. Noticing any judgments and just seeing if you can let them go. Just being with your breathing. Just being with how your body feels. Just being aware of your senses and the information that they're bringing to you. I love the ancient tradition in Japan called kintsugi, which means to patch with gold. Whenever any pottery gets broken or cracked, it's mended with resin mixed with gold. Instead of treating the break as something to hide, they treat the repair with the utmost respect, as part of the object's history, almost something to be celebrated. And our resilience too can perhaps be likened to the mended pottery. I'd like to just finish off now with a poem called Only Human, and I'm sharing it with you today with the kind permission of the poet herself, Gina Capobianco. And it goes like this. Only human. At times we all have cracks in our armour, dents that leave us hurting, and bruises to remind us we are only human. Dark clouds hang over our heads. Doubts enter our minds, taking hold like a vice. In times like these, we must call upon a resilience we did not realise we possess. Look deep within us, beneath the cracks and dents, to find our inner strength. This strength lies somewhere under our battered exterior. Our resilience strengthens us and allows us to step forward. Even though we are bruised, we smile, knowing we can heal and overcome the pains that stab at us in the darkness. The dents will slowly disappear. The cracks will mend themselves and the bruises fade. Our lives will continue. Light will emerge, shine upon us as we become whole. Thank you again for listening.